Okay guys, if you remember we were talking about syllogisms. Robert gave us this one, which turned out to be a faulty syllogism, but that's okay because it gave rise to a great deal of discussion, and the faulty syllogism was that beauty is not important, therefore I am beautiful, through that logical thing. So that was a faulty syllogism, but nevertheless it gave rise to a huge discussion which we're going to deal with in a moment. But before we do that, let's look at some other examples of syllogism. For instance, I'll have to interpret my hieroglyphics for you. All Italians are European. All right, that's true.
Come to the hall, please come to the main office, please.
No arguing with that premise. All Florentines are Italian. That's true. Therefore, all Florentines are European. All right, a very neat, very true syllogism. That works. One that works, which somebody made up. All hostess products are unhealthy. That is a sound major premise there, because you could look at the ingredients and the nutrition and prove that. Twinkies are hostess, therefore Twinkies are unhealthy. Right, that works. This other one works up here. All reptiles are cold-blooded. All lizards are reptiles. Therefore, all lizards are cold-blooded. Those things work. They can be verified, and they all contain parallel structure in there, which is one of the things that makes them work. All right. So those are some examples. Go on people's websites and have a look at the syllogisms that they've put up there to see whether you agree with them or not. However, if you remember, the next thing we looked at was this whole idea of what is physical beauty. And we talked about, and people wrote on the board, some characteristics and features that we in our society tend to regard as indicators of physical beauty. These are the things that as a society we tend to value. All right? This is all in the context of, is beauty important? Because then we looked at some examples of people who are regarded as being physically beautiful, and we had a whole list here of these people. And what we said was that even though beauty is not important, that's generally something that we assume, or we like to assume, all these people became successful because of their physical beauty. So therefore, the statement beauty is not important is arguable. It's a good statement to argue. So we then took that as our central premise, our central attitude. Beauty is not important. That's the what in this argument. And then we looked at some support. We could think of anecdotes. We could use exemplification, which of course is all the people that we wrote on the board. We could look at the attributes. We could even have some factual evidence about people who have been successful because they are important. We could look at the science behind physical beauty, things like the symmetry of features, and we could look at the physical attributes, and then we could look at the fact that it's society that makes it matter, and social success because of physical beauty. This is all support that we might make. But what's important here is the warrant. What's important is what makes it worth debating, what makes us debate it at this point. We equated it with someone rushing to the front of the line in that example that we saw online. And we could hear a story about an ugly, inverted commas, actor or actress getting the job. That could provoke the debate. We could, as somebody said, I heard so-and-so call so-and-so ugly. Why does that matter? Why is the word ugly used as an insult? We've got that whole thing of it was done beautifully, which means that it was done well, that equating beautiful with doing things well. And we've got the opinion, Robert read online this opinion that someone is not as beautiful as, and therefore not as valuable as. So what we want is some sort of incident that provokes the debate. Why are we provoked? Why are we debating this? What's important? So what I've asked you to do, if you remember, is to try to write a thesis statement about beauty is not important. What might start an essay off, right? A thesis statement. And just before we had this excellent example of a syllogism that somebody made up. I can't remember who. I think it was Jarek. Where he said that all colognes have scents. That's indisputable. Some scents attract. That is beautiful, and the word some is an important qualifier there, and therefore some colognes are attractive. That's a really neat syllogism. You can't dispute that. All right. Syllogisms leading to the beauty myth, leading to the thesis about beauty. The beauty myth is an important concept. The fact that, particularly in Hollywood movies, we tend to equate beauty with goodness. Keep that in your armoury. That's something, an idea that you need to own, that our society is subject to the beauty myth. Remembering that beauty is not the same in all societies. There are some societies that, for instance, deliberately scar their features, their facial features, as to enhance their beauty.